Hello, and welcome to the Admin Minute. I'm really happy that you're here. My name is Tina Keevil, and I'm the founder of Faithful Administration Solutions. And I'm grateful that you are joining me for Series 1, Episode 1, Tracking Billable Expenses. Let me start off by providing you with a little bit about myself and my background. Back in 1995, I started my career in the United States Air Force. From the beginning, I was in an administrative role. I've always loved administration, so I really feel it was my destiny. During my 20-year career, I had the opportunity to learn about how to stay organized and on task. These are traits I have carried over with me as I worked in different administrative roles uh, upon my retirement. In 2022, I founded Faithful Administration Solutions and started my business as an online operations partner. I assist startups, business coaches, and consultants with their administrative and financial tasks like invoicing, expense tracking, spreadsheets, workflow monitoring, and team coordination. Knowing that these can eat up valuable hours for a business owner, I wanted to step in and offer my support so they could free up their time and focus on their goals, grow their business, and enjoy a healthier work-life balance. This is my history in a nutshell. Now let's move on to why you're here, tracking billable expenses. We all know that invoicing is a vital task of every business, and not all invoices have billable expenses. However, whether you're requesting reimbursement with each invoice or just periodic reimbursement, it is important that you have a process in place. Now, I do know that there are options within accounting software programs and other types of software programs to save receipts. But if you're not using any of those software programs, this will be information you will need. And quite honestly, even if you are using something outside of just regular email and using an accounting software program, you may still find this information very helpful. So why is it that we need to track receipts? Well, we all know that we want to track receipts because they're required when we file our taxes. Not necessarily at the time that we file, but if we are ever in an audit situation, we're going to have to present those receipts for those transactions. But there's another reason for wanting to ensure that you are tracking your receipts, and that's if they're going to be a billable expense. A lot of times when we go into a contract with a client, we set parameters or we agree upon software platforms or travel expenses or materials expenses that the client said that they would pay for. In these in these cases, we want to ensure that we have a place where we have stored all the receipts because transparency is vital. Being able to show your receipts maintains trust. It needs to be in an organized fashion, and this is where I'm going to give you some tips on how to set up a successful process. A good tip that I want to share is to set up a receipts email. That is going to be a dedicated email that is going to be your company name, but the first words, as you see on the screen, would be receipts at, invoices at, or vendors at, whatever would make sense for you. Now, this is going to be a dedicated spot for all your receipts and your invoices that come in from a vendor. It will be important for you to ensure you use this email address when setting up new accounts. Don't be like me and start up a new account and still put in your old business email address. Not to say you can't go back and change it, but you really do want to try to get yourself in the habit of putting in this new email address and then going back into old subscriptions and putting in the new address that you've set up. So if you're like me, you might need stickies. I have a desk full of stickies, and trust me, they come in handy. But I will say that this simple change could be a game changer in how you ensure you claim all your billable expenses. Now that you have the email account set up, it's time to create folders within that email account. I would suggest specific folders like a client's name, vendor specific names, perhaps a project name, or something that makes sense to you. The goal is to easily find the receipts you need specific to that client. Now that you have your designated folders, it's time to set up rules. Rules are great and can have and can be time savers. However, like any automation we use, it's important to double check that each receipt went to the correct folder. My suggestion would be to skim all your folders to ensure that a billable receipt for one client did not accidentally end up in a different folder. If you're not sure about how to set up Gmail rules, I will have a link in the description box below. That's it. You now have a dedicated email to capture all your receipts, and you have specific folders in which to house those receipts. When it comes time to create your invoice, you know exactly where to go to find those billable receipts, and you can feel confident knowing you've captured all the information that you need. I do understand with all the other tasks that you have as a business owner, this could be a little bit overwhelming, and it's just probably an additional task on your plate. But don't hesitate to reach out to me at hello@faithfuladminsolutions.com to see how I can support you and your business. Thank you for joining me for Series 1, Episode 1 on tracking billable expenses. Next week, I will discuss invoicing billable expenses without using an accounting software program. Yes, it can be done without an accounting software program, and let me show you how. I would be grateful if you found this content helpful, if you would please like, subscribe, and share this video, and also request a notification so that you don't miss the next episode of the Admin Minute. Thank you so much for watching.